Few natural disasters strike more fear into people than earthquakes, and new technology is being used to do something about it. Technology with a Minnesota connection. Nearly every time it happens,
and we're just feeling an aftershock right now, a rather bad one.
the destruction and worse make headlines around the world.
As you can see, the place is a complete loss.
And we watch in shock. In November, Anchorage, Alaska felt nature's trembling wrath.
I don't believe it.
And for years, the entire West Coast has lived in fear of the big one.
Hysteria and mass emotion that will surround and engulf you completely and make you feel you are there.
Dramatized time and again in frightening films. Earthquakes. So what, you might say, does that have to do with us in Minnesota? Well, that is where this guy comes in. Josh Bashioum.
Grew up here in Wayzata, went to Blake School as a little kid. And right around sort of high school age, went out to Los Angeles and was a child actor for a while, believe it or not. I was in some Arby's commercials, some Pepsi commercials. I did one of the MasterCard internships. I mean, that was like a big thing 10, 15 years ago.
But the acting paid off in another way. Funding his college education.
After the Northridge quake in 1994, there were multiple fire trucks stuck in the station because the fire station doors had jammed.
So too did years of work as an emergency response team member, dealing with all kinds of disasters, including earthquakes.
We committed at the very beginning for it to be free to everybody.
Which led to his fascination, combining tremors with technology.
You do not want to hear extreme shaking when an app goes off. That's a bad day.
And that helped him create an earthquake early warning system 5 years ago.
Earthquake, extreme shaking.
Accessible by something as simple as your cell phone.
This was a 3.9. That was actually pretty close to San Francisco.
So far, his major customers are government agencies like the U.S. Geological Survey and businesses related to disaster response.
We have projects in LA, like with the LA Metro, so the whole train network in LA, where we have our system installed at their operations center, and it'll actually trigger the slowdown and stopping of all the trains in Los Angeles. And if you think about that, I mean, the impact that we could have at the next big earthquake, preventing a train derailment could prevent hundreds of deaths and hundreds of millions of dollars in damage to infrastructures. Audible alert systems in high-rise buildings. We have luxury condominium complexes, and we actually play this audible alert that says earthquake, 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 drop cover, hold on.
But soon, the high-tech tool will be put to use around the world, wherever an earthquake can hit.
Well, we've actually been invited to the White House to talk about hazard mitigation. We've testified at the state capitol in California, got involved in the United Nations, and actually spoke in Montreal at their Natural Hazards Summit.
A major lifesaver created by a guy who started out right here. What about Minnesota?
We're lucky out here. We just have the polar vortex or whatever that was, negative 27 degrees, and of course tornadoes. But luckily no seismic risk out here to speak of.
With the USGS backing, it'll be interesting to see how quickly other countries around the world will get on board with Josh Bashioum's earthquake early warning system too. I have a feeling that you're going to be hearing a lot about that name behind the scenes.